All right, let's see if this all works. Does this work? Is this thing on? All right, technology. How you doing, RB Kratz and Lori and Kevin Ritchie? How are you? Little music there. I'm always working on something. That's one of the stranger things I've come up with in a little while. Let's see. I've got kill the audio on that. We are live. We are streaming, folks. How are you today? Let me know in your comments how you're doing. Always talk about food. That's what we're here talking about. Let me pull some pictures up while we're talking. Good stuff that was had. Tasty food had by all. What are you having today? What did you have? What was your lunch today? This is one of my favorite meals. I had this salad. This was yesterday. Oh, I love that salad. A bed of romaine. And those are like these smashed roasted potatoes that Robin does, some fresh broccoli, pickles and pickled peppers and calamate olives and a dollop of hummus. Just a mix of good stuff. I love big salads, so that was a typical sort of thing. Don't snooze on salads, folks. They're so easy. And these days you can just buy that, you know, if you'd rather not clean lettuce up, which really doesn't take that much time. I like to just get kind of the 3 heads of lettuce in a bag. And a lot of romaine. Love a lot of romaine. But it's a good starting point because you can just, throw some beans and some pickles and some hummus and some whatever you got, roasted squash, some steamed spinach, some steamed kale and broccoli, anything from the day before. So salads are always good. So tell me what you had today for lunch on Meatless Monday. Today I had my other half is just such a great chef, and she put together this. It was kind of a continental breakfast, kind of a thing. Like, what would we have at a high-end kind of a spa brunch place? And so this is what we had, and that's that just egg stuff that I talk about all the time. It's awesome. It's a vegan mung bean protein, kind of an egg replacer, egg substitute, whatever language you want to use. And there we have it. The it's just a little bit of omelet with some taco sauce on it, and some Rind brand vegan cheese. Look at that stuff. It's like a blue cheese kind of a thing, and some hot peppers and some oranges. So yeah, just went for that. Like, what would you get at a really awesome kind of mimosas were the only missing part, you know. So those are a couple good things. That was the past two meals, I guess. What else is fun here? Just trying to encourage people that you can keep things so simple and have these great meals. So salad. That's a theme this week, especially everyone's going to overeat this week, right? Everyone's going to eat too heavy, and it's a chance to maybe say, well, make sure you've got some lighter stuff in there. Here's another salad that I whipped up the other day. Again, bed of lettuce, green olives, hot peppers. Those little things on top are sliced roasted radishes, which are really nice. They come out nice and chewy. And there's kind of a creamy vegan dressing. Cashew cream based sort of thing. Salad, folks. I need to eat more salad. Never enough. But I feel really good because of the live food that's in there. On a let's see, I'm just going through some photos. On a non-food, where the hell did that picture go? Well, we'll get to some non-food stuff in a while. Let's stay focused on food. Here's, I showed that one. Really nice broccolini the other night. I thought I captured that. We love steaming. Steaming is another thing that, one question I've gotten over the 15 years in natural foods retail is people don't have time. They don't want to, this is a constant theme. They're tired, don't have time. It's too complicated. The cooking's too involved. So simple stuff, I talk about that a lot here. Baking and steaming are two of the ones that should really be your friend, because they simple. You can kind of walk away. You don't have to watch a baking situation too often. Some things you check a little bit, but for the most part, you just don't think about it. 45 minutes, come back later. If you're lucky, you've got a timer on your oven, or it's a toaster oven if it's something smaller. So baking I love, because I'm always like, I'm really bad heating up coffee and things like that. I put it on and walk away. It's like, but baking's inherently great for those of you who think that you can't cook, because you can probably bake. It's so idiot proof. Really try it. Get a bag of start with a bag of potatoes. Get a good bag of organic potatoes and just take them home, clean them, scrub them up, and just roast them. Just bake them. 6 of them or something. Take them and jab them with a fork, and if you like, you can brush them with some olive oil and sprinkle some salt and paprika or something like that. There's a million ways to do it. You can just season them later, but certainly you can, we put them in a pan with a little olive oil so that they're kind of just roasting in the oil. Potatoes are idiot proof. I meet people all the time who've never cooked a potato, never baked a potato. So good week to start as you're looking for some comfort food and looking for some healthier alternatives to overeating. So let's talk about that. Let's see. When I stop speaking, the sound machine stops. Oh, is there? Oh, are you getting other stuff? I better try to. Oh, let me see what you mean. Music. Where's the drum machine on? Okay, let's see here. That's kind of funny. Okay. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I have this new mixing board, and I'm still learning. That's funny, Sabina. Maybe Andre wants to rap today. Okay, let's see here. I think I got rid of it. Let's see. That's kind of funny. Okay. Very interesting. You know. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I have this new mixing board, and I'm still learning. So, okay, for those of you who are technical, basically it's a mixing board with USB out. And obviously I've got to go in and do some settings because the USB must be sending out all the channels, even though they are muted, even though they're pulled down in the fader. I just need to. Yeah. Okay. New mixing board. New mixing board. Display. All right. Anyway, not going to bore you with that. As long as I got rid of it, and it looks like people are commenting. I'm echoing. Is it echoing? Oh, I think you're hearing my iPhone playing in the background. RB Kratz. Let me turn that off. Anyway, not going to bore you with that. Let's see. Yeah, see. It looks like people are commenting. All right. Let's get rid of that. All right, I think I got it. And we'll have to figure this out later. Let me just turn this off. But you do not hear any more drum machines, right? That's just tell me in the comments. La 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 la. Okay, let's close that. Okay, that looks like it works. All right. Very interesting. Very interesting, Scott Fisher. How are you, man? Yeah, you know, I've got maybe buried in the menus as a default, but apparently, no matter what's up on your faders, the USB out just takes all 12 channels out raw. Very interesting way to do it because everything's coming down the pike. Well, anyway, cool. How are you all doing? Let's see here. I just put some food up that I had today and the day before. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a cup technical wonderland today. Yes. Only drum machines are the ones in your head. Yes, Scott. Let's see. There we go. Does this work? Let's see. Mess around with this. Yeah, here we go. Sounds like Funkadelic because they always would start the show. Something simple like this, and George Clinton would come out. Yeah. Have you ever seen P-Funk? The first half hour would be just like this. And people would come out, there'd be like 32 musicians. It would just be, get settled in, smoke a joint now because you're going to be here for 3 hours with P-Funk. All right, just testing that. So today, just going to talk about a couple different things. I'm always doing this ongoing thing of recently, what's been exciting is how many mainstream companies are picking up on natural food, on plant-based food, vegetarianism. And so a couple items there. And then Thanksgiving, I want to see what y'all are doing. Hopefully not traveling. I saw we had record amounts of people at the airport today, at the airports. How many tens of millions of Americans? Oh, man, yeah, everyone loves to see their family, I hear. And no, just kidding. No, you want to see your family and your friends. We get it. We all do. But so did Anne Frank, and she sacrificed. So that's what we've been setting Anne Frank as the bar and kind of saying, she and those 6 other people found a way to really they didn't find a way. They had to survive. It's kind of grim to even compare, I know, but I'm a grim guy sometimes. But it doesn't have to be Anne Frank, but think about your your grandparents. Actually think about an older relative that might have gone to a war. The most recent would be Vietnam. The most recent would be, people went to the Gulf, went to Iraq, Iraq and Kuwait and the shenanigans we've had there. Those are smaller because that was more of an invasion than like a full-on, but you know what I mean? In wartime, people have to give things up. They don't get to do holidays. They don't get to do vacations and go to the beach because they feel like it, or so pick whatever you like. I was born in the third world, so I was born a poor black child. When Steve Martin came out with that shit, I fell out. I was born a poor black child. We weren't like dirt shoeless poor, but looking back, it was quite modest. It was quite modest. It would have been, middle class in the country I was born in, British Guyana at that point, and now it became Guyana a year later. And I grew up in Chicago, actually, so I grew up for first 5 years in the USA, but I went back there from age 6 to 11, and then living for a few months at a time in Trinidad and Jamaica. And my point being that when you spend some time in the third world, as I have for, I don't know, 6-7 years of my life, you just get used to doing without. And that's kind of one of the things I want to talk about this week, just giving thanks. I give thanks. We give thanks every day, man, just to be in a house, just to have food in a house. Wow, that's some heavy shit. I'm watching these videos of homeless people in Los Angeles, the what's going down on Venice Beach, right? Wow. Just Venice Beach, if you've ever been there, it used to be this hip, cool kind of touristy area, lots of t-shirts and trinkets and California stuff you could buy up and down, and you could get any kind of food and stop in sidewalk cafes and things like that. People, young, old, black, white, Latino, Asian, just having fun, skateboarding and roller skating, biking, sitting in the sand. I love Venice Beach. And to see the video of it now, it's just devastating. Everything's closed, and it's a tent city, basically. It's completely been taken over. Because a lot of people don't have a place to live. So giving thanks there. But jumping back to this metaphor of living in the third world, we had blackouts. We had water shortages. We had water, shortages covers everything. You just hear a radio announcement saying tomorrow, starting at 6 a.m. till Thursday the 17th, 6 p.m., no water. They would tell you, yeah, coming up in 2 days. So every house knowing this would have these 20 gallon and 50 gallon containers and drums and things like that. And you had water. You probably had some anyway because you just knew. But the idea of water and how grateful we should be to turn on that tap. And if you all ever get your fucking water shut off, I have a bunch of years ago when I was super broke instead of just being sometimes broke. I was super broke a few years ago. Couldn't fix the heat. Something had broken on my in the heater. Couldn't fix it. Had no heat. Had a space heater. Living on Progresso soup. I would wait till Progresso soup was 10 for $10. Wow, that was like the happiest day. Been there, folks, not too long ago, just a couple years ago, and I could be there in a minute again. Trust me on that. And so you give thanks. And in this week of looking for what do we give thanks, but in that period, I was selling guitar pedals, I was selling synthesizers, I was sold a guitar too. It's what you do. It's all good, no complaints. But my water got shut off. I just couldn't pay it on time one time, and there they were in my front yard. I think I was showering, actually. I was showering. Yeah, that's the best thing. Showering and, washing the soap off, actually. I was like in the rinse cycle, and I was like, shh, shh. Let's see. We can actually do sound effects here. Let's do this just because we can. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's muted. Okay. White noise. So I was shouting. There we go. That's pretty good. Pretty good, right? Hans Zimmer. Look at him. So I'm showering. Showered, maybe I shaved. Water's washing down. Let's filter that a little. So, and then suddenly, what's going on? It just stops. The water stops. And I've got soap in my eyes and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And I step out and realize, oh man, the shit has gone down. The water is gone. The water is gone. Wow. And I turn the taps on the sink, and you get that little drip of water, just enough that there was a little water in my hand. Just get it out of my eyes. And so I just got rid of the last bits of suds that were still on me. I was so lucky. I was literally in the rinse cycle, but I got out and it was just sobering couple days, no fucking water. Right. So you give thanks for water, turning that tap on, because I've been there. I've lived in third world countries where the water goes away, and that teaches you some shit right there. You really realize that, wow, these are the basics. And there's whatever the statistic is, a third of the people on planet Earth. I don't know. You read these things. 1/3 of the humans on Earth, which is like 2.5 billion, I don't know if that's the number right now, but you know where I'm going. I mean, you see these insane numbers of people that, if it was only 1/7 of the people on the planet, that's still a billion, so there's a lot to give thanks for if you can turn the tap on and there's water, much less electricity and, things like that. So let's hear your comments. Oh, good to see some here. Anton Major, Scott, yes, drum machines in your head. If you could only record those. I know, bro. It's a heavy comparison to the Anne Frank. I know. I've that's a heavy, two of the heaviest things I ever did. One of them in that realm of acknowledging suffering I do a lot of acknowledging of animal suffering. We're going to talk about that a bit today, and the pardoning of the turkeys and all that stuff. But one of the heaviest things was going to the Anne Frank house, Anne Frank Hills, as you would say in Dutch. It's close to that. You go into the house, yeah, you can see the crawl space. Like there's a bookshelf they used to move and crawl in and go and hide. It's all right there. It's a museum downstairs, but the house, you can go up and they have, a few people at a time can walk through. Very poignant to look out the window onto the Gracht, the Princeton Gracht. I think that's the one. It's the Princeton Gracht that Anne Frank is on. That means canal. I forget if it's the actual Princeton one, but I think it is. But you look out and you see the street where the Nazis would have been. So some sobering shit. You're right, though. That's a dark comparison, but it's what I got, and because here we are, you can sit in your home and order anything you want, any food, any cuisine known to humanity, right? You really could. In most, obviously, if you're in somewhere remote or rural, but any of us in a medium-sized city and up can pick up the phone now in a pandemic. Not even pick up the phone, go to some app and just order a pizza, some wings, some falafel, a salad, a veggie burger, a meat burger, a pasta dish, a Chinese food dish, Japanese food, Thai food. Just pick up the phone and it comes to your front door, and you could order your groceries. You could order, I don't like these sneakers anymore. Bang, second day Amazon. And yet being asked to just wear a mask and stay in is problematic. Here we go. So again, my rant today is for us to give thanks that that we have what we have during this, and this is a serious thing. Early on, I did a few of these web chats with a lot of you good folks who are here today about the pandemic. We did a bunch of chats about the virus, about the pandemic. And I'm happy to say that pretty much the way we framed it, and I'm talking to a lot of the names who were here earlier on, you all got this right also. Sabina and Scott and Frank Bellina and, Kurt. What's up, Kurt? And most of my friends that I'm seeing here, Guy and Shauna, just about everyone that's here today, Arby, Kratz, and Lori, and Kevin, we were on the same page in late February and March, which was, this is a real, serious, highly contagious virus. You reduce your odds of getting it by staying away from as many people as possible. And when you do, socially distancing, wearing a mask, protecting yourself. Number 3, it's time to say sacrifice. I don't need to go to the movies. I don't need to go to a bar. I'd love to. Who doesn't like to go and sit and have a wonderful meal and laugh with people and joke around with strangers even? Not going to be able to do it. We said this in February and March, remember? And the other thing I said over and over and over, support your immune system. Work on your immune system. We should be doing that anyway. It's kind of job one, I think, right? If you want to be here and you want to thrive, whatever your goals and your things you want to do in life, what the fuck do they matter if you're sick all the time? So to me, job one, immune system, immunity, alkaline, removing inflammation. We should be all, well, we don't have to do anything, but in a world that I would advocate, we would be working on an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Stop inflaming things. That wraps it up right there, folks. Anti-inflammatory. Stop having an inflamed digestive system. Stop having an inflamed heart, meaning the heart that's stressed out by blockages and by excitotoxins and cholesterol deposits and all these inflammatory diseases that are resulting in lupus and Epstein-Barr and MS and all this stuff, So we talked about this early on in the pandemic, and we talked about building your immune system, right? With antioxidants and good food. And so, I'm giving thanks for that this week, that you folks were on board with half a dozen basic things about this virus. And we've proven to be correct, haven't we? Haven't we? We all have friends who are still conspiracy theorists. I still get these videos. I still get this stuff. What's interesting is there's not much of a curve with some of the conspiracy theorists. Some of them there is, but some of my friends that are still, you're like, wow, bro, 250,000 dead just in the US, right? What's it worldwide? 1.3 million, 1.5 million, something. Someone update me on that. How many dead on Earth so far counted by this pandemic? And yes, there's a margin of error, because that's the other thing. Someone's always going to point out, they're reporting this, they're reporting that. One of the first discussions was about the flu as we go into flu season. I want to also get a quick survey. Any people doing the flu vaccine or stocking up on oscillococcinum and various immune enhancing things? Do you get the flu vaccine? It's 40 to 60% successful. So to me, that's, okay, I guess, but some comments coming in. Cool. Let's see. Oops, cancel. Let's see. So yeah, lots to give thanks about. And yes, I was just, all that was kind of started out answering Scott on saying the Anne Frank comparison. Yeah. Darkly humorous. I'm gonna have some mate right now, some Gayaki mate, yerba mate tea. Love this stuff. Not too sweet, and a nice caffeine thing that isn't intense. I make it hot with the tea bags too. So tell me what you're eating today, and we'll talk about some food as well. Frank Bellina, you got a van loaded up with weapons, packed and ready to go. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that does sound familiar. That's lyrics. What is that from? Distantly familiar. Yeah, Scott. Frank, as you know by now, is quite humorous. I don't know if he doesn't have a van load of guns. Maybe he's just got one or two. Buying beans and tomatoes in the same manner. Yeah, 10 for 10. Psh, I tell you, bro, we're music people, man. We know what it's like, right? Living on a budget. That's the one I was saying to someone yesterday about this pandemic, is that I'm used to not getting a paycheck for 3 months once in a while, at least once a year, if that happens. I have these great summers where I'm out on tour with Yes or Brand X or ELP or Greg Lake or something, UK and all these incredible bands. Great. People looking there like, oh man, Andre's got a Rolls Royce. No. It's awesome money for 6 weeks. Then your ass is out of a job. And if you're out of a job for the next 6 weeks, then you made half the money in that period, right? You divided by 2 and so on and so on. You could do the math. So it's really one of the stupidest ways to make a living, but I've chosen it. No complaints. And I don't complain to anyone. So it's a curve, you're just equipped as a musician, as a music business person. You're equipped for those months when it's soup time, and little less of this, little less of that. But living simply has been very powerful during this time. So Frank says, not quite that stupid. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, Sabina, Technical Wonderland. Opening scene, Hitchhiker's Guide, when they're about to yeah, right. Arthur Dent. Zaphod Beeblebrox. And who's the guy who always, there's a guy in there that, is it Zaphod? I think there's a guy in that movie that reminds me always of Richard Branson. Who's the guy? The guy with the blonde hair and the blonde beard. He looks so much like Richard Branson. 42. Oh, what's 42? I'm not sure. Hey, Robin, how are you? Robin Rundgren, what are you having for Thanksgiving? What are you having for lunch today and for Thanksgiving? Scott Fisher, what are you having for Thanksgiving? Are you all staying in? I think you are. How about you, RB Kratz and Lori? What's up for Thanksgiving? Let's talk about that, folks, and let's talk about the the turkey pardon that always happens at the White House. I can't remember, does he do that usually? Like most presidents, they have the big thing with the turkey and this one's not going to be killed. I don't know. Maybe he has. Sabina, 42. What is that? Are you 42? You're not 42. You're younger, right? I can't remember. But oh, the answer to the universe. Yes, of course. I knew it. I remember. 40% success, Scott says, is greater than zero. Yeah, I guess, one could argue a supercharged immune system is 80 or 90% protection against the flu. So, certainly higher than 40. But yeah, I'm torn on it. I get it sometimes. I've gotten it way in the past. It's been a few years. And then I can say, well, I haven't had it in 10 years and I haven't had the flu. Or maybe I've had it once. And I think I've caught it on tour, being in a busload of people. And I take oscillococcinum, and man, that shit's incredible. Y'all know about oscillococcinum? And I'm generally not a huge homeopathic guy. I don't have like a pharmacopoeia of homeopathic stuff. That's the one thing we get, oscillococcinum, and it's great. You take that within the first 4 days of the flu and works like a charm. It's the number one flu remedy in France, I know, and I think Netherlands. Sabina, maybe you could speak to that. Oscillococcinum. How popular is that in Germany? Because in Germany, what's really interesting is they have the Commission E, which is kind of very roughly the equivalent of their FDA, their approving body for things that you buy in a for people to take. But it includes everything. It includes pharmaceutical drugs, chemical compounds and things, but also herbs. So echinacea would be analyzed by the Commission E in Germany, and that's with a K, Commission. So would aspirin. So would statins or some kind of diabetes drug. But also things like oscillococcinum would be, or any number of St. John's wort, or ginger extract, you name it. So oscillococcinum, have some on hand. It's I know someone's going to come on and explain homeopathics now, but the fact is that shit, I've had it work for close to a quarter century. So, okay, getting back to your comments. Sabina, did I come close trying to say grach, 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 grach? Sounds like my throat hurts. Yeah, that's right, Frank. Please deposit 75 cents. Well, that's like England, right? I've never been in one of these houses. I've seen the old thing on the wall, but apparently in England in the 40s, 50s, 60s, that's how you'd pay for heat right away, right? In rental properties, I guess, you put a few shillings in and the heat would run for the next 6 hours or something, and then you'd put some more. Man, that's real life shit, right? That's like really being conscious of your and some of those English houses, man, in the winter, shit can get cold. They're very choosy about where the heating elements were. But hey, look at the art it created, right? If some of those great post-war auteurs and musical geniuses weren't suffering in the cold, if Pete Townsend wasn't in a freezing cold bed sit, would we have gotten some of those songs? Would we have gotten some of that music? So So yeah, so food, Thanksgiving. Tell me what you're having here. Let's see what else someone's saying here. Living in the movie Brazil, and the shits already got ill. What is that? Okay, so there's some links there. I'll check out. Sabina, you did your workout today? That's great. I haven't really been bad the last couple of days. I whacked my back out on a pretty intense Beyonce themed yoga class last week. I mean, it was pretty intense. And the next day I was like, oh man, you're 55. You push the push the envelope there. But hopefully today get back on the yoga schedule. And I really bad year for my bike, but there's still time. We can bike year round here. Yeah, Brazil references. Okay, Lori found a probiotic cream cheese from Eugene, Oregon. That's great. So that's just a cream cheese made with I would love to see more details. I mean, technically most cheese has some sort of probiotic in it, technically, because it's going to be a lactose kind of consuming organism, an organism that's on some level thriving on milk, but on milk sugar. But yeah, tell me more. I'd love to see that. And I'm all for any dairy or anything that is the animal's ethically raised and treated and all those kinds of things. And also fed what it really would eat, pasture fed or fed real things like real grass and clover and all that. We really got to take that step. We got to work on not supporting the industrialized, I said to someone the other day, lamb, hey, it's not for me, but if you're going to eat lamb, try to find it where it's an animal that fed on grass and actually lived somewhat of a, enjoyable life just out in the sun, out on the, So yeah, coming from Eugene, Oregon, I bet this cream cheese has got all that kind of crunchy aesthetic to it, right? Organic or but we just got these cheeses from my sister with it was a gift for Robin's birthday. I'm going to put a link up. These were amazing vegan cheeses, and I think the company's Rind. Yeah, really great. I mean, this stuff was. Oh, was it in New York? I thought it was. Check this out. This is a place called Rind. I'll put the link right in there. And they are astounding. These are cheeses that are, I think, cashew based and let's put this on. This is good enough to let's get on the old Facebook link here. Because you got to see this. This is really good. Merry-go-round, pop, pop, pop. Okay, so Rind, look at that cheese, huh? That's their whole vibe, I guess, that they do like a French kind of a cheese. These are artisan cheeses, and what's so awesome is we've now reached the artisan level of some of these vegan foods. Artisans. I'm talking like the same thing that's happened in brewing, for instance, where you really have people drilling down and kind of studying, 2,000 years of brewing, for instance, and really, really doing it, getting heirloom hops and kind of, studying Belgian brewing from the 9th century or whatever, you're seeing that a lot. And I love that we're seeing that in food. And while some of you, well, if you're on this, you're not going to roll your eyes, but I have friends who roll their eyes and go, oh, it's not real, man. It's not real. Well, people saying that just haven't studied history. They're ignorant. There, I said it. Because if you study history, I've talked about this on the show a few times, They were making cheeses and sausages and things we think of as pure dairy. Back in the day, back in the 1300s, milk, dairy was quite a commodity sometimes, and quite seasonally variant in affordability. So they were using almond milk, they were using almond meal, they were using egg whites, they were using things that were not necessarily dairy. They weren't always vegan. Sometimes it was extract of fish and fish bladder and fish gelatin and all manner of things, mushrooms and different nuts that were ground up, and different potato showed up a lot when you had to stretch the ingredients in a sausage or a, making various things. So nuts really have been around for a long time as a creamy kind of a mouthfeel that's similar to cheese. So it's not new, folks, and I think it's really important to adopt that attitude of being realistic, that this is not necessarily some new hippie idea. It's just that we're turning the corner into artisan, serious craftship in doing this stuff. So anyway, Rind, I highly recommend. I'm looking at their site right here. These are like blue cheeses. These are French style soft ripened cheeses in a rind, made with the real great umami of soft ripened cheese. They're not playing. And I've had some incredible cheese in middle of France. I mean, look at that. I want to reach out to them and hear about this process, but this stuff is really, really great. So thanks to my sister for introducing us to this. Here's a livestock sustainability consultant. We will not have a dairy industry in 5 to 10 years. The climate change stuff that's about to hit the food industry is mind-blowing. So here's these folks. And they're awesome. I'd love to have them on the show. I'm going to reach out. Look at their Instagram. The point is, folks, food is just mouthfeel, really. It's just texture. It's just, it's chewiness or saltiness or acid or sweetness. It's the 5 different, is it 5, right? Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and then there's umami, right? Isn't there an argument that there's 6? So it's really crazy, because if you can just achieve those textures, that's food. And if you're honest about food, throughout history, it has changed, and they've done things with different stuff. So that looks wonderful. Look at that little appetizer plate, or whatever you want to call it, cheese plate, with some dates and some, what are those, currants or something, a little bit of artisan bread. So yeah, nice stuff here, folks. Oh, look at that. That's my jam right there. I do that in hotel rooms. People go out, it's the middle of Belgium. I'll go have a drink or something, but I'll just go to the supermarket, the little market in these wonderful European cities, and get everything you see on that plate. Yeah, I'll get some tomatoes on the vine and a bottle of pickles, and if I'm really adventurous and I'm there for a day or two, sure, some fresh garlic. I love raw garlic. And there's often a vegan cheese, and I'll eat cheese every couple of years, milk cheese, but I'll only eat it in Switzerland or Germany or France or England. But there's less and less reason to, because this stuff is everywhere. So this is a place in Paso Robles, California, that has all vegan cream. It's a place near where I used to live, Red Bank. So, well, there you get the picture. A lot of cool stuff there. But I'm increasingly now, once a week, kind of talking about some of these companies, right, that are out there. And I spent some time last week with some huge companies, Green Giant and Bird's Eye. Wow. if you were here for that. That's amazing what they're doing. But I want to highlight always some of these smaller companies, and Rind is one of them. So, Michael Keating, what's up, buddy? Not gonna do it. Not gonna that, as George Bush said. I believe in Manuka honey, not lab work. Wow. Okay. Talk to me about that. What do you mean Manuka honey? For your immune system, for anti-allergy? I could see that. Manuka honey probably doesn't kill the flu virus. I don't know if that's what you were saying, but yeah, I'm into just supporting my immune system. Mate tea in a can. We need to talk about that, Andre. I know, right? I get a couple of them, a month or something, but I usually make it. I have the mate tea bags. I do, and I love to make those. Life during wartime, right? What's up, Ryan Walsh? Talk to us. What did you eat today? New vegetarian on the scene. Someone I knew as a young teenager. What's up, buddy? I'm so proud of you doing that. Right, Scott. I remembered a little earlier the Hitchhiker's number. Richard Branson. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, doesn't he look like the guy in Hitchhiker's Guide? That's you asked lots of veggies. I don't understand. I guess you were saying what you ate. I'm not sure what that means. Because you're talking about cream cheese. No problem hearing about cheese. Remember, it's a pro-vegetarian couple hours. Just don't want to hear about slaughtered animals. That's the line for me. No slaughter. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the Thanksgiving stuff and segueing there. Scott, yeah, canceled immediate family. Yeah. Dinner on your own, vegan turkey, because I'm going to put on the screen a couple of these vegan options. Trader Joe's sold out. Wow. Okay. Interesting. What's today? Monday. You probably still could get one through Whole Foods delivery, right? The Tofurkey does one, and there's a company here in Asheville called No Evil Foods. They have kind of a little roast. We're getting one of those. Sabina, wow, how about that? You were 42. What are the odds? So there you go. Astragalus and Andrographis, love it. I think I'm low on Andrographis. I've been meaning to get around to update on some of my herbs, but no, those are. I mean, you know my answers to that. Yeah, I guess if I would get the flu all the time, and then I'd start going, yeah, time to. But I just feel like, the funny part is, this may be a really good flu year in the United States because we've learned all these basics. Wash your hands. Stay home if you're sick. If you're coughing and sneezing and all that, don't be a selfish asshole. Think about the other people. Put a mask on so you're not out gassing in the supermarket, right? How many people do you see during the winter shopping and they look like they should be in bed, right? They're sniffing and snuffling and blowing their nose and handling the produce, and you're just like, are you serious, lady? What the fuck? What's this dude doing? He should be home. He's discolored, right? People just go out. It doesn't matter. I think this pandemic might teach people to say, whoa, I'm sick. I shouldn't be out in public. And if I am, because it's an emergency and I got to go pick something up at CVS or I can't manage to get food delivered, let me cover myself up. Let me, wash my hands, get some Purell, get into that supermarket, get in and out, and be mindful that I may infect other human beings. Wow. So I'm hoping that this pandemic has put that kind of reality into people's minds. So maybe the flu won't be as bad this year because people are thinking about it. But to jump back to something I said before, I'd like those of you who, if you have friends who were saying back in February, it's just the flu. This is just the flu. idiots, sheep. It's just the flu. I hope you remind them, and I do because I'm that kind of guy, that it has now, in the United States alone, to compare apples to apples, where flu deaths, I think, are something to 40 to 60,000. Isn't 60 like even an extreme estimate? But let's just give them that. Let's just average that at 50,000 a year. And again, some say that's high. But for those people, and they were irresponsible, selfish, anti-science people when they were saying this. And I said that then, and I'll say it now. It was clear they were ridiculous in February to say stupid stuff like it's just the flu. Fucking ridiculous. But okay, I like a diversity of opinions, and we can hash it out. And some of you all remember some of those chats, right? We had some contentious stuff. You had people would come on here telling me I'm crazy and this is going to be over by Easter. Remember that? From the president on down. Oh, come on. It's just, as soon as it warms up, this is fine. I urge those of you who understand science I urge those of you to remind your friends today, on this anniversary of this shit, that COVID-19 has killed 5 times as many in the United States. I'm talking just the United States, where we're doing the worst on planet Earth. But it's killed over 5 times what the flu does, and only in 9 months, right? So the annual flu number, let's say about 50K, we're 5 times that. 5 times that in 3/4 of the time in 9 months. That's fucking mind-blowing. So where are these people? It's just the flu. It's just the flu. I saw this video from Alex Jones. It's just the flu, dude. You guys are fucking sheep. You're just lemmings, bro. Oh, I want to punch that guy in his nose. No, I don't. I don't advocate violence. But rhetorically speaking, there was a lot of bullshit that we heard from those obnoxious people. I have close friends. I have a couple close friends who are on that train. It's not the flu. Astragalus and Andrographis. Let's get that. Thanks for reminding me, Scott. I keep forgetting to stock up on it. I keep forgetting I can just order shit too. I'm not a big delivery guy. I just suit up and mask up and I go out there. But I should order some of that. Anyway, RB Kratz. Okay, honey butt squash and Brussels sprouts, delicious. Some of my favorites. Apple cider and spuds. Sabina. Okay. Yeah, oscillococcinum. If you Google that, it's from Boiron. I believe it's Boiron, the French homeopathic company, right next door. Let me know. There is a German company that also makes it because I bought it in the apothec. I'm butchering that. Sorry. But I use it from time to time, over the years. So Frank is saying, are you saying Star Trek? Oh, serpent worms. Gach. Is that what you're saying? That's funny. I did not know about that. Interesting. Though I love Star Trek, and I love the version with Will Riker and Jean-Luc Picard. Anyway, I was saying grach. Sabina's laughing right now, as are any Dutch people. But it means canal, right? So the Prinsengracht is the Prinsen Canal. Denise Romano Bright, wishing you also, excuse me, wishing you and Bob also a lovely day and a very happy Thanksgiving. What's up, Lewis? Lewis Allred. Bassam went to McDee's for the new veggies thing. Oh, it's not there yet. I don't even know, bro. I know they announced it. Yeah. Okay, I like it. Free lesson for those noises. We're on. I hope to be in Germany playing solo electronic music. That's going to be one of the first things I do is a solo tour, because you can do that safely, you know. And I'm talking to some of my colleagues about touring in Europe. I work for an English band. I work for the band Yes currently, and just reading some articles. This is nothing official. I've heard nothing from my bosses, but you know, there are new with Brexit, touring in Europe for an English band is going to be a fucking nightmare. All the new visas and work requirement stuff, the new taxation that's going to happen, the carnet, which those of you who have moved things internationally, equipment may know. A carnet is something that you raise a carnet, you generate this multi-page bit of paperwork that lists everything you're bringing over the border. Every Roland keyboard, every Les Paul guitar, every pedal and cable and computer and iPad, and you know, anything that's rolling across, every piece of a drum kit, everything is listed with the name and the value and the country of origin, and then you serial number, and at any point going over the border, and I've done this going into many countries, but going into Canada or whatever, everything has to be on there, because at any point these agents, and they do this, they just randomly, they flip through, I'm looking for a prop here. I have, but they flip through this pad of paper, and they just stop and they go, let me see the Korg Triton LE, serial number 2577291A. Let me see that. They'll just randomly ask, and you better show it to them. So all of that shit that didn't exist because England was in the EU is now back. The joke's on you, people who voted for Brexit. So I'm thinking about that and thinking about my career and how it's affected not only by COVID and by the shutdowns and stuff, and by the new methodology of safety coming up, but for some of these bands I work for, the English ones, there's a very real problem going forward. It's going to be suddenly cost, I don't know, twice as much for them to put a tour on. It's not a joke, you know, and some of the smaller bands. So I'm looking to I think next time I tour in Europe, it'll be alone, you know, because that's much less paperwork. So, okay. So we'll get the free Deutsche lessons then, Sabina. Sprouts Market, that's awesome. Ambient hip hop with poetry, nice. That's great. Organic Nancy's. Piotr Stoshek. Conagra, I'm not. Conagra. That's. Do they own Bird's Eye? They own either Bird's Eye or Green Giant, but yeah, one or two of them. And hey, you know, I love that topic. I talk about that all the time on the show. As an angry young vegan, as opposed to an angry 55-year-old vegan, I you know, the boycott thing. You know, you start hearing about boycotts, and sometimes they work. You know, when I was 19, we were marching against apartheid, boycotting South African products, asking our university. I was at Rutgers University in New Jersey. And the idea of getting the university to divest itself from South Africa, for instance. So absolutely, there's times when pulling away investments and money matters. But however, where does that end? So natural foods, and we've talked about this quite a bit on this show. I've had some guests that have discussed this too. You go back to the late 80s, early 90s, when I started in the natural food industry, and you have companies like Ken and Roberts, which became Imagine, or you had Hain, or Cascadian Farms, right, from up in the Pacific Northwest, or Annie's, and Amy's, wonderful all vegetarian company. We had all these companies. I'm just riffing off the top of my head. But then what happened is the bigger industries noticed some of these things and they started buying them. So Heinz bought, I don't know, Hain, I think they bought Hain. A lot of these things were sold and bought, General Mills, they bought Nasoya, I think, or, check me on any of these, but you get the picture. It's not even that important to get it specifically correct. My point is these large companies, ConAgra, General Mills, Quaker Oats, Nabisco, all these companies, they're sitting there in board meetings and they're watching these SKUs, they're watching this industry numeration of sales and all this, and they're going, what's this oat milk stuff? What the fuck is this? Sales are tripling every quarter. What the hell? And they just buy it, and so they own it. So then the problem becomes, do I now boycott General Mills? Do I boycott Quaker Oats and ConAgra because they've moved towards a natural? Interesting philosophical question. And I sit and I stare at the sky, sitting in my backyard as I do part of each day to look at the stars or the sky and to just not be around any media. And I still think about this shit, just not staring at a screen. But I think about that and I go, wow, which one is more useful? We have advocated for years. We have urged, why don't they have anything healthy? Heinz or Nabisco, everything's junk. Why don't they have anything healthy? Okay, jump ahead 10 years. Now they do. They bought some vegan soup company or they bought some natural bread company and they folded it in. Now they have it. So what do we do? Do we turn that object around and look at it from the other side and say, oh, in a way, they've responded to our voting with our dollar and our requests, and they've done it. So, okay, cool. Let's encourage them and urge them to be even tighter and have even more organic ingredients. So, I've come to that side of the table to where I'm like, you know what? This is cool. Doesn't mean I fill my freezer with ConAgra products, but it means that, yeah, great. I'm totally on board to cheerlead them on this show and to try things once in a while. Hey, what's up, Ryan? So you had the Bird's Eye Buffalo cauliflower. Not bad for frozen oil product. I know, right? Damn good. A little mushy. Yeah, we baked them a little extra than what they said. So that's a pro tip. Just bake them like twice as long and they get nice and crispy. But I thought they were great once you bake them a little longer. Crispy outside, the breading and all that. But the cauliflower nice inside. So yeah. Hey, if it's making more people that hate vegetables eat vegetables, then it's a win. Sabina says flu shot's free. Of course it is, right? It's in your medical basic care. Yeah. That's what a real country does. Yeah. Slotty Bot Fast. Is that the guy's name? Is that the one who looks like Branson? I forget. But Scott says, yeah, agreed. Science is a hoax. Okay, so both Arby and Kratz and Laura, you work in the supermarket, 2 separate stores. Oh, wow. Gone out in quarantine, the night crew, huh? See, I worry about that shit a lot, man. I don't worry about a lot, but I do worry about the coming collapse. If people in the food industry, entire supermarket chains or suppliers, it's not good. Sorry to hear that. People quarantined on the job. I have a friend who works in a supermarket, and she works in night crew actually up in New Jersey. A wife of a dear friend of mine, and we're always talking about these supermarkets start having blowups. They had lunch together 5 days ago. So you mean separate from being at work? They went out for lunch, or what is that? Or lunch on the lunch break. Either way, hopefully the lunchroom in a supermarket is incredibly separated and all that. Yeah, Ryan, you've had the flu and you had COVID, so you fucking dude. I know, man. You fucking know the difference personally, right? So sorry, bro. I'm so happy though that you're in the 97% and you did, survive. That's the thing. It's highly survivable. But then people turn that around and they dismiss it. Well, who cares? I had a discussion with two young men in the supermarket the other day. No fucking masks, neither of them. Young 20s, and I confronted them. I said, "Guys, did you forget your mask? Or is this all a hoax?" Like I gave them the only two choices that it seems that are out there. And the one guy shrugged right away and said, it's not very deadly, like he said it with quite a bit of snark. And I said, that's not the point. The point is it's highly contagious. You can catch it today without your dumb mask, give it to a roommate who then gives it to their parent, who then gives it to a child with asthma or a coworker or something, because all these people are asymptomatic. You might, go visit them because you don't care. You don't have a mask on. But what I did bring up is what you're saying, that now I can add you to my list, bro. I'm so sorry to hear that you have long-term effects. I know another young man, a young man in Texas who's the cousin of one of my my lighting director for my touring. Met this kid a couple times. He's got heart problems 6-7 months later now. What is this? January, March, April. Yeah, he had it in April. We're talking 7 months of heart problems in your 20s. So this shit is no joke. That's the main reason I don't want to get it. I think I could survive it. It's just the flu, bro. I think I can survive it, but I'm not interested at 55 in having some fucking kidney problem for the next unforeseeable time, or lung issue, or my blood is a little thicker than it was, or some. This is. I didn't know those symptoms, Ryan. Forgetfulness, some hair loss. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. So sorry to hear that. Sabina says these are long-term effects. And Sabina, that's Ryan that you're talking to. There's a connection. You met my late partner Sherry at probably the first Zapanale. She played in the group with Don Preston and myself. That's her cousin. So a little connection there. And she had German ancestry. I think Ryan's on the other side of the family. But anyway, kind of cool that you're chatting and you have that connection of Sherry. So long-term effects, yeah. I know. The long-term effects, that's the thing. Not interested. I just don't want to have that. I'm selfish. I don't want to get that. Raymond says, why do they do that? Why do the governments do that around the inventory of stuff? I'm confused there, Raymond. Why do they do what? Sometimes I'm a little behind on the comments, but why do governments not give us the correct things? Yeah. So okay, RB Kratz, you're saying they should be separated in the lunchroom and all that, but they're not, right? Yeah, young people, what's up? We still haven't got the memo out, because at the beginning of this, there was tentative, and that's the funny part. In February, March, April, and be my witness, some of you were here. I was talking about this shit. I was approaching it with a science-based, rational, linear thought process, and I was acknowledging, here's what we know, here's what's conjecture, here's what things look like. But here's what's fact. And we would list facts back in February, March, when I started these kind of chats. And one of the things they weren't sure about, and they said this, they said, we're not sure. We're still looking at this. We don't know what the gradient is for ages. We're seeing that in young children, they don't manifest any symptoms most of the time. A few children had died already at that point. Babies. 2, 5, 7-year-old, but that was incredibly rare, right? It was 1 in millions or whatever, or hundreds of thousands. But I remember them saying that, yeah, we're just not sure what's up with 20, 25, 30, and 35-year-olds in that range. We're just not sure. But instead, the media went with like, there's nearly no risk if you're in your 20s. And then the media, then the social media waters it down further and said, it's completely safe if you're not a 55 and 75-year-old. Go on out there. So there they were on the beach in Florida, right? Like little selfish jackasses. Because even if they thought, oh, I'm going to be fine, man. I got a party, bro. Spring break, bro. Come on, yeah. Even if you're doing that, what about grandma? What about your uncle? You're taking this home. You're taking this here, there. Wow. The culture of selfishness, whatever age, but, and then it turned the corner somewhere in the summer and they started pointing out, young people, this just in. First off, some of you are dying, straight up dying. But a lot of you are walking away with heart disease, lung disease, kidneys, almost every internal organ I've heard there's some issue, depends. What Ryan is saying that blows my mind. Hair loss and memory, affecting your memory. Fuck. I didn't know that. Forgetfulness, some hair loss, and getting winded easily, which sounds like lungs. Oh, man. Yeah, that's some scary shit. Okay, back to your comments. So Frank Bellina, I know, I got to get out on the bike. Keep reminding me. Frank Bellina talking to Sabina. That's another connection. I love the overseas connections. You've both worked with Ike Willis and with CHAG and a bunch of other people. So how about that? Frank Bellina, you should go to Zappanale when it's back. You would love it. You'd love that part of Germany. And you could rent a bike for like, €2 a day or something. Custom checkpoint. Benny, what's up, bro? Happy Thanksgiving. Ta-da! Ryan had the COVID virus in April. Another one had it before. He has heart problems and developed a bunch of growths on her body. Oh my God. It's like minute by minute, I'm finding out new fucking side effects. Man. Show me the keyboard, single noise, XYZ. Serial number. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's what they do, Raymond. It's true. They'll ask you for anything. So you have to go in with a list of everything just in case. Most times they don't, though. Most times all this work and time and money goes into the carnet. They don't care. But I've been on tours where they do. They stop and they want to see a half dozen things. So I was just saying that being in an English band, good luck, English band now going over to France or Netherlands. And then you got to do it all over again when you enter Germany or Belgium or Switzerland, especially Switzerland. Ha ha, joke's on you, people who supported Brexit, some of whom I work for and with. So sorry. What are you going to do, though? This gets to a whole other fucking discussion, and we're kind of going through it now where I've got right-wing friends, do you, who are kind of saying after the election, let's move on. Let's come together and let's heal as Americans and move on. No, fuck you. No, you enabled this for 4 years. You're going to be reminded as we fix the damage. You don't get to just wipe the slate clean and never hear about it again. Sorry, I'm just too Old Testament for that. No. Every problem that Biden has in the first little while, we will remind you that you supported this shit, especially the 60 days now of slash and burn and destroy everything. None of this nonsense. I have a friend who's he's gone past it. He's like, anyway, where were we? Your guy won and we can move on. No. So similarly, Brexit, if you supported that Brexit shit, don't come complaining to me if you live in England and you're facing real problems economically and trade wise. It's a drag. So Ike Willis, it's true. Get him his bratwurst. You know, wow. So Arby Kratz, that's, oh my God, another COVID illness. Yeah, I know they're popping up everywhere. I've got a few friends who've tested positive. Yeah. Yeah. This thing is real. What else do we have? Oh yeah, so I'm gonna do some stuff here on We Are Veganuary. Let me put that up on the screen. So tell me what you ate today. I've only seen one or two people. What did you have? Let's see. Monday Mementos from Next Planet. Instagram. Let's see. Let's put this up. So this is pretty cool. This is I like to share the websites that are doing some cool stuff. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So there's this group that does vegan. They encourage, we're here to talk about vegan once a day, or vegetarian even once a day. And there's a really cool outfit called, or an idea called Veganuary. And I'm close up to the screen, folks, because I got a new setup here where you can look into my eyes, where I have the keyboard a little further away. It's worth it though. So anyway, Veganuary is this idea of, hey, go vegan for January. That's a step further than 4 days a month, right? But let's see. Stop share. Let me get that right. Where's the Okay, great. There it is. So this website's cool because it's a Instagram encouraging vegan diet and recipes and things, but really cool. Let's see. Do we have this on the screen? Really cool look at different ways to support a plant-based diet. And let's see, hopefully that's a full screen thing. Do you see that? Yeah. Okay, great. It's on the screen. I'm kind of delayed on what I'm seeing, but very cool. 5 reasons to not eat turkey again. And I thought this was valid because of where we are this month. I mean, so they are smart, sensitive animals. You can read this yourself, but really smart. I'll just touch on a few things. Turkeys are so intelligent. I've seen some documentaries. Birds in general, incredibly intelligent, with maybe crows at the top of the chain, or vultures, or some kind of raptor type birds are incredibly intelligent. They're kind of basically flying dinosaurs. They all are. But they're very social animals. Some of them do some very intelligent stuff. And I'm sure you've seen these films of chickens doing pattern recognition and, sorting out different colored beads, or doing stuff based on squares and triangles and circles, so they're really intelligent animals. And so turkeys are way up there. So that's kind of reason number one. You're slaughtering babies because they're 3 to 5 months old, usually when they're killed. but they can live to 10 years left alone in the wild. How about that? That's a good one to go for your pro-life friends and say, hey, you're killing babies on Thanksgiving Day. Just 3 to 5 months old babies. Isn't life precious? Just a thought. And then there's all this stuff on the conditions they're in, and just like chickens, they take their beaks off with a hot knife, with a hot device. Yeah, some sad shit. So that's a few things on turkey, which, again, not to get too heavy-handed, but this is the week to talk about that shit, right? So really cool website, Veganuary, if you're an Instagram person. I really like Instagram because it's just pictures and it's fun. Look at this, a turkey feast. Look at this. Very cool. So Sabina had wasabi peanuts after dinner for snacks. Okay, that sounds good. Can't go wrong. I've been loving these salt and vinegar peanuts we have here and these barbecue ones. Love it. Scott Fisher, leftover crazy noodles. Nice. Tofu and extra veggies and spicy. Very nice. Plus a McDougal's noodle cup. Hey, you're working it off, bro. So it's all good. Good old Dr. McDougall. He's awesome. And there's a couple of good books out about all this. Let's see. Let's see. So there's a couple cool things. Again, tell me what you had today. Tell me what you're having for Thanksgiving. Those of you who do that. And those of you who, why not go crazy this year and skip the turkey? I mean, there's still time. You know, I used to, a few years in a row, we had this roast that I just put up, the tofurkey roast. And Scott, you said Trader Joe is sold out. You know, check out the tofurkey one. That was awesome. Used to really love that. It's like a tofu with stuffing and wild rice and stuff like that. That's a good one. And there used to be one, oh man, I forget the brand, but the beautiful thing is there's so many new options today. You know, Whole Foods, I know, does a vegan kind of a meal. You could pick the whole thing up. So those of you who maybe, you know, don't need a lot of stuff, that's an idea. Just let someone else do it. And I haven't done it in a while, but Whole Foods does that. We've used this other company locally a couple years ago. We got some stuff, but so the tofurkey roast, I just put that up in the chat. And the Field Roast is a really great company, and they do this kind of seitan or wheat gluten based thing. They call it a celebration roast. Again, I'm just going to throw some of these links up. Bassam says, Dean Ornish walked through your houseboat. I didn't know you had a houseboat. That's awesome. I knew you were a Silicon Valley millionaire recently. Congratulations, bro. I know you did that deal with, who'd you sell to? Pinterest or QB or something? So, ladies, Bassam is single and he's a millionaire. He lives in the Bay Area. Recent money too, dumb money. So you can go and rip him off pretty easily. But he's got a houseboat. And Dean Ornish was apparently on his houseboat, probably one of those crazy parties that's been happening out in the Bay. And Basant did not even know it was him, but check him out. Single, loaded, and doesn't know what to do with the money. No Thanksgiving here. I have to think, by the way, government's thinking about, yeah, I know that you guys are going for another lockdown, huh? It's fucked up. All right. Let's come back here to a couple of things. So Field Roast, I really love that company. That's another one of these smaller companies that I can be excited about that does some really cool stuff. Let's take a look at them. Those of you in the States who don't know about this, I know in England there's some companies doing this. Excuse me, sage and garlic plant-based celebration roast. So that's pretty cool. I think I've had tried this once. I'm not really huge on these things. I have them like once a year or once every few years. But look at that. It's just a butternut squash, onions, and lentil-based thing with like wheat gluten and all good ingredients. That's the cool thing about this stuff. You could go to the supermarket and buy all the ingredients. You know, lentils, vinegar, tomato paste, spices, herbs, red wine, sage, and wheat gluten. So it's essentially like a protein loaf, you know, like wheat, and there is no soy in this thing. Yeah. How about that? It's soy free. But again, this is the kind of thing that if you study medieval European and Asian and African and South American, I know a little less about that. I wonder what was happening for, you know, some of those cultures that I've enjoyed in modern times, Peruvian food, Chilean food. But in all the other ones around the world where there was poverty, whether in Africa, Europe, Asia, Central America, they figured out ways to do things with nuts and coconuts and plant-based fats and root vegetables, especially, and mushrooms. They figured it out. And yes, they ate meat. Yes, they slaughtered animals, but they had to do it at such an infinitesimal rate compared to us. That's my message all the time, folks. If you can just cut it back, eat meat like your grandparents did, which was quite a treat, quite a small serving compared to now, and then supplement it with some of these things that really aren't that brand new. I mean, some of these things, these kind of roasts. So this is the kind of thing in medieval Italy, they were already doing things like this. How do I know that? Because you read Leonardo da Vinci, who was vegetarian, and he was always talking about cooking things with almond paste and ground almonds, and doing different things with you know, squashes and eggplants and things like that. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci had a cookbook, loved chickpeas and mushrooms and soups and things. Anyway, if you don't know about Field Roast, check them out. I put the link there. They're in most supermarkets and Whole Foods and stuff. I've tried a couple of the things. Wow, they got some good stuff here. They really have become very complete. I think I had their apple and sage sausages. Superb, just really great. I mean, they got that whole umami and spicing and flavoring. And again, sausages weren't always made of pure only flesh. Yeah. So new career, Sabina. Yes, rapping, matchmaking. I know I do have to come up with something because the regular career is problematic. Ananas meat. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. What about gluten-free? So RB Kratz, I'm not sure if you're referring to on some of these roasts and things. Yes, there's I think the tofurkey one is probably gluten-free. I'm going to pull that one up. Let's see, where are we? Pretty sure that the tofurkey one, tofurkey roast, I put the link in there. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I haven't had this in a long time, but I had this. It's a tofu-based thing. Let's see. No, it does have vital wheat gluten, first ingredient, and then tofu and spices and celery, garlic, lemon juice, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, pretty easy to do a squash. Just take get a butternut squash roast or something going. Easy to do a gluten-free Thanksgiving. Are you all gluten-free or just asking for GP? Right, Sabina. So you guys don't have a Thanksgiving. While the Germans did their share of colonialism and slaughter and all kinds of warfare, ours is based on the murderous European arrival and what happened to the native tribal people here. And we twist it and wrap it up in some kind of bullshit imagery of the first Thanksgiving when we sat, we being, the colonialists, when they sat and had a dinner and the native folks apparently saved them from the first winter, the first cold weather, and taught them how to eat off the land. And hey, I'm sure that really did happen in some cases. And I'm sure some of the white European settlers were very kind. Some of them were actually living up to their Puritan and religious morals that they came over with. Absolutely. There was very good people who came here with good intentions and realized, oh wow, no, we should live in harmony with these folks who already live here in Massachusetts. They already were here in Indiana when we got here, in Illinois and in Missouri and North Carolina. The Cherokee people. Wow, what can we learn from them? What can we? So I'm sure that Thanksgiving myth we're taught is partially true. Unfortunately, the flip side in the USA is there was a lot of slaughter. There was a lot of genocide, outright white supremacy and murder of tribe after tribe after tribe. The first US example of biological warfare, purposely giving smallpox infected blankets to native people. That's funny. Siri was noting all of that. But so Thanksgiving's always been interesting time for me. I always want to have gratitude and give thanks. And y'all who come on this show know that I do that every week. Just lucky to be alive, but my message this week is to ask people just very gently to give thanks for what you have going on that many others don't. And also for the animals. Maybe this is your year to not just talk about being controlled by a narrative. How about just not doing what we're told to do every year, which is you've got to have this table full of turkey and all this stuff. How about just having the stuff? I mean, you think about it, a lot of the side dishes, whether it's the green bean casserole or the beets or the cranberry sauce or the salads or the different cultures add different things, macaroni and cheese on the side or the roasted sweet potatoes and regular potatoes and all of these wonderful side dishes, which are usually meatless, sometimes dairy, sometimes not. But you think about that, it's pretty easy actually. If all you got to do is change the thing in the middle, that slaughtered, hormone-filled, antibiotic-filled bird. If you're getting a mainstream one, then you're getting all that crap. So just a thought, maybe this is the year to say, you know what? Let's just replace that one big piece and do all the other stuff that we like to do. And we'll do something towards animal agriculture. Let's see. Just I'm trying to remember. Did I? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was smallpox blankets. I couldn't remember if it was smallpox was the virus. That's what I was caught up in. But how about that, right? Colonists tried that at least once, it looks like, and it looks like that's documented. That's some fucked up shit, right? Knowing that stuff is infected and giving it to native people. So when we see these memes and this kind of hijacked imagery of Thanksgiving and the great cooperation between the colonists and the Indians, which they never called them because Columbus thought he was arriving in India and he wasn't. So, native people are split. Of course, some tribal people call themselves Indians. Some are vehemently against it. I mean, and I've read both sides, and I choose to side with the ones who are very traditionalist and say, no, we're not Indians. We're Cree. We're Cherokee. We're Iroquois. We're any number of words that I'll mispronounce. Arrendakwaii or Cincinnati or any of these tribes. You have a lot of the tribal activists who say, no, do not call us Native Americans. That's not the name of this place when we were here. Don't call us Indians. Learn our name, learn our, just learn the most basic thing about our culture, where we started, and they acknowledged too that they had warfare and they killed each other and they fought for different territory, and the natives that were in Massachusetts were sometimes killed by some that came in from Ohio, and it was a blending of conquest and things like that. Yeah. Okay, great. So, okay, back to your comments, which I love. Let's see. Hey, no new comments. Oh, I see. Here it is. So your mother has celiac. Okay, RB Kratz. Yeah, well, you can reach me with direct messages. I've dealt with celiac people for years, in my professional life, natural foods retail and co-owning a store, working in another store. Celiac, incredibly common. So I've helped people with celiac, with Crohn's disease, people with just anything in the spectrum of gluten response type of thing. So happy to help. And I'm happy to say it's so easy to do in 2020, and I've done it. I've walked the walk. The past couple of years, I just decided when I went on tour to go grain free. So I did that all summer and spring last year. I think I did about 8 months completely grain free, So it's easy to do today. There's so much great stuff. I guess my first bit of advice is to your mom to pass on is don't go too crazy trying to replace everything. Like, in other words, sometimes people go gluten-free and then they fill their house with gluten-free pasta, gluten-free bread, gluten-free crackers, gluten-free pancake mix, and gluten-free bread mix, and gluten-free. That ends up being problematic because then you're eating a lot of tapioca starch and garbanzo flour and lentil flour and just you're still eating a lot of processed stuff, a lot of processed flours. Still way better, yeah, but I find sometimes when we do that single ingredient avoidance, it can tip the other way and suddenly you're eating. So I think you already know this, but just as a reinforcement, your mom, one of the best things is just get off grains in general. Don't stop trying to parse. Is rye a little better than buckwheat, which is a little better than oats, which is a little better than this, or is quinoa better? You'll go crazy. Like, just kind of think grains in general. I should hardly eat them. And then fill in the blanks with other stuff. If she does eat meat, then get her the healthiest, best meat there is, because the same excitotoxins and the antibiotics and the steroids and the vaccines that are in your typical cheap chicken and beef and pork. For someone who's already dealing with kind of a what's the word? An irritated immune response, which a lot of allergy manifestation basically is. Someone who's already dealing with that probably wants as little as possible of steroids, antibiotics, vaccines, growth hormones, artificial colors, all of which is in cheap, shitty chicken and turkey and beef and pork. So I would say that too. If she's going to eat animal products and dairy, if she's going to eat animal products, try to reduce them so that she's going a little more alkaline, which would only help if she's dealing with something like celiac, but also to go as high quality as she can. And so clean protein and lots of vegetables and fresh fruit is, you're never going to go wrong adding that to the equation. And we can get into other details. Watermelon ham. Wow. Okay. How about that? Well, it's funny. Watermelon has a weird texture, doesn't it? When you dry it, so I could see that because it gets chewy and it gets, how about that? But never heard of that. A complete watermelon ham. That is awesome. So yeah, no Thanksgiving in Germany, but one thing I was looking at the other day was there's Thanksgiving in Canada. They do theirs in October. And did you all see this? They had I'll put a link. They had some COVID spikes that happened because people went and got together. Yeah, people were doing. What's today? Today's the 23rd. Is today JFK Day? But they had all these get-togethers about a month ago. Let's see. I was trying to calculate the date. So almost 6 weeks ago, just shy of 6 weeks ago. But if you Google it, just Google Thanksgiving Canada COVID. There's a story there, and I'm not hearing people talk about it enough. Because they had a spike. People went and got together, and 10, 14 days later. Yeah. So, how to break the news to loved ones that you won't be attending holiday gatherings. How about, hey, have you seen the news? Yeah. Kind of crazy. Any questions, anyone? I'm gonna keep today. Usually when I don't have a guest, I keep it to just about 2 hours. So I'm gonna wrap this up soon. But are there any questions? Anyone have any questions about ideas for Thanksgiving? Always ready to answer questions about plant-based protein, plant-based diet, plant-based fats, plant-based nutrition. Questions, things you're worrying about. Thank you, RB Kratz and Lori, for a specific question there on gluten and avoiding gluten. But anyone else, if you want to wrap with a couple closing questions, or just share a recipe, share what you had today. Coronavirus in Canada after Thanksgiving is a warning for Americans. That's another headline. Yeah, man, I tell you, are we going to do anything about it? We just don't. We're stubborn. We just kind of, we always know better. And yeah, just giving a couple links here for you folks. Oops. Okay, let's put that in. If you're on the chat, you will see that I'm just putting a few links. But if you haven't seen that, folks, an interesting read and pass it on. But I have a friend in Toronto. We were talking about this a couple of days ago. I have a few friends in Toronto, a few relatives. My dad lived there for many years and passed away in Toronto last year. So very connected to Canada and my Canadian friends and relatives. And it's in the news. They're shutting that. They just shut down at midnight. They shut down, 17 hours ago at midnight. They shut down. And even as much as they're getting it right, they stupidly had all these malls and stores that extended their hours this weekend and said, come on out and shop. So, oh man, that's the funny thing. It's like we picked the deadline because there's an effective thing. Doesn't mean rush out and pack yourself into a mall right before it. So, the friends were talking to me about the spike that they had because their Thanksgiving was October 12th. By the end of October, they saw some numbers. Let's see, Michigan certifies election results. How about that? That's coming across the wire. So Ryan Walsh, if you're still here, keep getting better, bro. Speedy recovery, and thank you for. Wow, that's some sobering news. I did not know some of these side effects, growths on your body, or your friend. I know, but I didn't know people were getting growths. I've heard about the heart problems. I didn't hear about the hair loss and the memory issues. It's just a fucked up virus. Wow. So I'm going to be pardoning a turkey in summation. It is grassy knoll day, isn't it? Yeah, right. This is the day. This is the day. I used to be a big JFK conspiracy fan. Yeah, well, just reading about it. I mean, I don't, I don't know what was what, but it was fascinating as a teenager to read about that shit. And I guess it's not in the news today. Well, of course it is. They always celebrate it, but it's not like the giant thing because it's if we're all alive in 3 years, it'll be the 60th anniversary. So yeah, that day in Dallas. Yeah, it's always fascinating. Okay, folks. Well, I'm going to wrap up here. As always, the last couple minutes I say, is there any closing questions? And as I look for one more link here, but yeah, single bullet theory, one of the many crazy things. Okay, let's come back to here. Where's our Facebook link? Okay, great. There we are. And yes, today 42 is the answer, Sabina. You were correct. Thank you for always checking in. And hope you folks are staying safe in Germany. I know you guys, you guys you shut down again, right? You had another lockdown. I think in France they did, and in England. Never travel without it. That's right. Frank, I'll check that out. Fall of the American. Wow. What's this? All right, I'll check that out later. The Grassy Knoll, Fall of the American Empire. You know, I always want to hear thoughts on that. It's tough to not get apocalyptic about this shit. Hey, Todd Reynolds, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Let's catch up soon. Let's do a Zoom cocktail chat. But in summation, folks, have a good Thanksgiving. You know, we haven't done a full-on political discussion in a little while, but I will. You know, a couple people have messaged me and said, "What's going on? You're not talking about this stuff." And I am. In fact, my friend Todd Reynolds and I have been doing some chats. Maybe we'll do one coming up. But I've just been shaking my head a lot. But I think today was a big day, right? Wasn't there about 4 or 5 states or more that are going to certify? So this circus of denial, it's kind of circling the drain. It's like we're watching something really circle the drain. And yep, Michigan has certified the win of Biden. That's a big one because you had that one, right? The one Republican person in the Michigan election infrastructure who was a little wobbly for up until last night. And, you know, but that's it, bro. Come on, man. You lost. And now there's no pathway, even if you pulled something out of your ass and, you know, aliens arrived and proved that they made the voting machines in Pennsylvania or something. You're on the level of blockbuster movie absurdity. But it's over, bro. But, you know, just like Bill Maher said for 3 years, Bill Maher has been saying, this guy's not going to leave when, you know, at least 2 years he's been saying that. And so here we are. So that's for another show. And you know, some interesting things in that realm. I'm waiting for December. Is it December 8th, December 14th, when the electors actually vote in this ridiculous, not a democracy? What a joke. We have a system where it's not the amount of votes, but it's this crazy Rube Goldberg machine with electors and 538 people, electors or electoral votes. I think that's how many electors there are too, right? And it's fucked up. We need to change this. Okay. Okay. All right. Fantastic. And Todd saying, yeah, monitoring the soft coup. Oh, I am. The point isn't the path. It's clogging the drain. Somebody needs to negotiate with the bad man and partner's ass. Yeah, it's true. He's clogging the drain. Drain the swamp. He's going to swamp the drain. Yeah, you're right. He's making it so you have to negotiate. He's not going anywhere, though. He's going to be the leader of the loyal opposition over on Parler or Parlay, whatever. It's Parler, right? Is that because they don't use French? Those red hat folks. Yeah, he's going to be leading the alternate universe folks who are absolutely convinced, as many of them are, that the Earth is flat and the Earth is 4,000 years old. That's what's funny, right? You can do a Venn diagram once you teach Mitt Romney's team had to actually do a Venn diagram. But you can do a Venn diagram that of the part of his 70 million that thinks the Earth is 3,000 years old, 4,000 years old. That's a segment. And then you go in another circle, and it'll overlap some of those thinking that the Earth is flat. And then you have another group of that 70 million who may think and believe in the magic underwear and people in the sky that they can talk to. And you just keep looking at these, and then where they all agree is they went and voted for this guy. So it's not hard to take that crowd. And there's very intelligent people who voted for him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these people that says they're all idiots, they're all stupid. I push back on that every day. In fact, it's very dangerous to do that. A lot of them are, but a lot of them are Rhodes scholars and lawyers and people with PhDs, and you don't have to be stupid to vote for this guy. But what's interesting is how many of them are going to move forward convinced that he didn't, that it was stolen. Anyway, giving thanks that things turned out the way it did. Let's see, I'm listing many thanks. Thanks to have a roof, some food in my belly, and some hope for the future of trying to invent a new career, invent a new livelihood as my old livelihood crumbles like dust. Hey, shit happens. Societies crumble, civilizations crumble. If you had a DVD rental place and you were doing awesome a decade ago, it's gone now. Shit happens. If you had just invented, imagine just investing your life savings in a Blockbuster like 10 years ago. Imagine if you just, like 2 years later, it was over, right? And such is life. I've been there, been in retail and had to lose it all, close it down. So give thanks that you are even here to fight another day. Give thanks that you have a brain, that you can maybe figure out a new career, a new step. And give thanks to the generations that came before us that sacrificed and that can teach us that, sometimes shit's really tough, but humans make it through and we figure it out, whether it's volcanoes or floods or famines or wars, mass migration, all kinds of things. This time, it's one of the repeating plagues that are visited on human beings, right? We had smallpox for around 10,000 years. 10,000 years of smallpox waxing and waning and wiping out cities worth of people. Ancient Egyptians were probably talking about smallpox in some of the plagues that they were visited by. They talk about the boils and the pustules, and they drew it in art. They drew people with these red smallpox. So plagues and viral infections and zoonotic infections have been around. So again, in my little soliloquy here of giving thanks, give thanks that it's 2020 and we can study all those previous ones and make better choices. We can learn from science. We can learn from the swine flu, H1N1, from the 1918 pandemic. Give thanks. Give thanks. Without that, this would be that much worse off, right? If as bad as it is with the science deniers and stuff. Wow, I give thanks all the time that we have a robust international science community. And actually today, in the last couple of days, is really the 1 year anniversary. Think about that. Last November 23rd, they were only 2 or 3 days into the first ground zero infection of this, right? It was around November 20th. It's tough to put an exact date on something like that. But the patient zero was about a year ago. Holy shit. That's why they keep finding out new info and keep updating their database and keep giving us a fresh set of data on this, because it's only a year. So I give thanks to that science-based regime. That's leader of the royal opposition. Yes, he is. That the Oval Office is going to be trashed. I know, bro. I was joking around. It's kind of like that guest who you've had some problems with in a hotel, like in a Motel 6 or something, and they still have 2 days they paid for, and they're sticking around. And you're going to have some clogged toilets and fucking hot wired televisions and bodily fluids. It's like renegade scumbags who have your Airbnb and they're not leaving. Parlor trick. I know. Sabina, what do you mean the earth is flat? Careful not to drop off the side. Yes. There you go, Frank. Yeah, exactly. One of the best schools in New Jersey. Yeah, a lot of your classmates. And where was that school? Was it in Homedale? Because then for some of them, it's affluence, right? Like taxes, right? Because they became engineers or software people, and they're making 200 grand, and now they're, you know, Arbocrats. Yeah, have a good. I'm mixed on the happy holiday thing. Sure, though, if it means the right things, gratitude and seeing your family on Zoom, god damn it, not in person, then great. Chrissy, my dear friend, how are you? A chance to do something new and different. Yeah, that's what we can do. We had some great Thanksgivings, right? Back in Second Nature years, 1995 to 2005. We would do. We would have it at our house sometimes and have a vegan roast and different things. If we didn't do that, we would do like the December holiday thing. But hope you're doing well. Okay, well, you guys are funny. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Good to be with you again this week, and you've been, as always, inspiring. Some great ideas. A couple good things left for me to think about with some of the comments. Thank you for some of these direct questions. I thrive on that. I love that. I wish there was more. People, feel free to come in with real serious questions. How many grams of protein do you think I should have every day? And where can I get iron? And things like that. I love stuff like that because then my answers are based on science, based on facts, based on reminding people that lots of people eat meat and don't have enough iron. So there's no guarantee, like flesh food doesn't like magically change your life. It might magically do a lot of stuff you didn't want, like, acid reflux or gout or irritable bowel syndrome and artery issues. So sometimes it's doing exactly what you don't want to do. So I love those questions. I love talking about that. We'll continue next week. Next week we have a chef on. I'll do an announcement of this, but it's going to be a chef named Hayat Boras. She is a wonderful pastry chef and everything chef. She runs a place called the Sunflower Diner here in Asheville. We're going to talk about recipes, ideas, as I do from time to time, kind of the entrepreneur plant-based evolution and what's going on for people. And we will continue to just have fun and remind people to just take one day a week, and think about animals. I'll leave you with, please think about the turkeys, think about the animals that will die for some bullshit human ritualistic sacrifice nonsense. And maybe just go flip a switch in your head. You don't have to do it. Just say, what am I doing? I don't need to follow orders here. Jump in your spaceship and take off. Just like that. But just in all seriousness, just giving it some thought that hey, what better year to throw a wrench in my normal every year habits and just not have a fucking turkey? What what am I missing? Great year to experiment too. If you're at home alone or home with just your other half or your family, so it's just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of you instead of 18 of you. Great year to say, you know what? Let's mix this up. Let's mix this the fuck up. Let's do something different and not just go with the mainstream slaughter ritual. I think it's a perfect year to experiment a little bit. So to be continued. Also next week, we're going to continue. I didn't touch this at all this week, but it's been an ongoing story. The minks. Yes, these minks who got the coronavirus and passed it back to humans and they're being slaughtered. That is now in Utah, Wisconsin, Netherlands, Denmark, and it's still with us. So let's keep thinking about animals and animal welfare at the same time of all this fun food stuff. So all right. One last look today. And home deli, okay, yeah, Chrissy, we did. It was great. Sabina, you're still here. Where's your spaceship? Deck A or Z? I know. Well, we're gonna. Some theremin. I'm gonna take us out with a little Moog.